Hello, Facebook family and friends. I hope you're having a great day today. I just got back from a cruise on Saturday. I know I haven't posted a video in a few weeks. The last video update I posted was week 104 for March 21st, 2026. And I apologize. Just a lot going on lately. Uh, just an FYI, this is probably going to be a long video. I know it's going to be a long video. So, just so you know. Today is Monday, April 13th, 2026. And this is going to be week 107 results of being back on Mounjaro. I did weigh myself for week 105 on March 28th. So my results on that day, I weighed in at 195 and the prior week was 193. So I gained 2 pounds, putting my total weight loss since being back on Mounjaro as 41. And then, of course, I left for my cruise I flew out Thursday, April 2nd. So I did weigh myself the morning of April 1st. So right before I left for my cruise, at that time, I weighed in at 193. So I lost back those 2 pounds and put me back up to 43 pounds lost total. So I was happy with that. And then this week, I got back. I flew back in and finally got home. It was about close to 11 o'clock at night. So Sunday morning, went ahead and weighed myself. I don't like weighing. I like to give it a week when I get back from my cruises because it never fails. I always seem to weigh more. And I don't know, it's possibly because I ate a little bit more and a little bit more junk food type stuff than I normally eat. Or maybe it's because just the flying and the stress and the cruise itself. Maybe I'm retaining a little bit more water. I don't know. But Sunday morning, I weighed in at 199, which is a 6-pound gain since the last weigh-in, which is the day before I flew out. So that dropped my total weight loss down to 37 pounds post-cruise. So I'm not too worried about that. I'm sure it'll start coming back down. So, yeah, I gave today's date. Yeah, I did. Monday, April 13th. I am having brain fog all the time, it seems like. I'm tired constantly. Yeah, I didn't tell you this. On the Thursday morning, the 2nd, I had my alarm set on my phone to get up in time so I can get to the airport because my flight left at, I think it was 8:10. And I woke up and it was 7:30. Thankfully, I was already all packed except for a few items. So I was rushing around, trying to get the last few minutes. I said, hopefully I can get there before they close the doors, because they close the doors 10 minutes before the takeoff time. Well, I got there exactly at 10 minutes till. So I got my boarding passes, but it said an error. So at the kiosk, so I had to go to see the ladies where they take the bags, the luggage to store. And she said, "I'm sorry, but they've already closed the door on that plane, so you've missed this plane." Like, oh my God, no! This is why I planned to fly out 2 days early. But thankfully, she was able to rebook me that morning. Because I bought tickets that had where you can replace them if something happens, and so it didn't cost me to change flights. I had to wait couple of hours before the flight. Flew out of Eppley, Omaha, Nebraska, and which was no problem. And I had a different state for layover. So, but I still made it there Thursday night and checked into my hotel room that was at the Miami airport Miami International Airport. So that was all good. And okay, so yeah, that was it. I went on the brand new Norwegian Luna, brand new ship. It just had a 4-day cruise right before my cruise, and before that they did the ship came over on transatlantic cruise. So technically, my cruise was the third cruise on it, but it's still brand new cruise. They got a brand new ship coming out next May, and they actually have a 7-day cruise over there. I think in Venice, something like that, Barcelona. But anyway, they said, do I want to take a back-to-back and do the transatlantic cruise? I was like, okay. I did think about it a few days because I bought some more cruise next certificates. If you're ever cruise with Norwegian Cruise Line, you know about them. So I went ahead and booked a 7-day cruise over there. And then when we port, I think that's Barcelona, Spain, but don't quote me on that. And then the transatlantic cruise leaves from there. We hit like 2 or 3 ports there, and then we start the trip across the Atlantic Ocean. And there's no ports. When we get over here, we'll just go right away to the new port, and it will be Miami. So the new Norwegian Aurora, which will be the largest ship ever, and it's going to be different from the Norwegian Aqua and the Norwegian Luna. I have both been on them. They're sister ships, so they're exactly alike. But this Aqua, no, not Aqua, Aurora, A-U-R-A, it's going to be bigger and different. So we'll see. But that's going to be a long month of May next year, because also I'm booked on the transatlantic cruise for Carnival's brand new ship, the Festival. The cruise ship is a music themed ship, so everywhere in the cruise ship, it's all going to be themed different types of music. And that is the very first cruise. They're not doing a cruise over there before they come over, so that will be on the cruise. And that's from May 2nd to the 17th. And they'll be back in Miami. And then I got to figure out, because I have 4 days to fly back over there in a different area to hit the cruise port where the Aurora will be. And I was told by the staff there who's helping me book that there's not an airport near that port. You have to fly in at a nearby city or state, and then you have to get on a train ride for 3 hours to get to the city where the port is at. So, and because that cruise, I don't have it on there. That cruise is 21st through 28th of May, 2027. And then the transatlantic cruise, which is a 13-day cruise, is from May 28th through June 10th. So, but anyway, enough of my cruising. I'm going to give you some updates here. I had to get the fun stuff out first. What happened? Let me look at the calendar. All right. I did have my neurology testing done on March 30th with another neurologist in my neurologist's office. It's just she was doing a test to see if my tremors and shakiness was caused by functional tremors and or FND, functional nerve disorder. because they think the physical therapist, the occupational therapist, believed it was from that. So I had my testing done there, and they're supposed to give me many, many tests. And after the first 3 tests, she said, there's no point doing any more testing on you. It's quite obvious you have functional gait disorder. And that's gait, G-A-I-T. So, and that's what that is basically my nervous system is malfunctioning, to say. So, it's curable, they think. They said they have a 1-week program. It's an aggressive program that has a very good record of resolving, or mostly resolving, the tremors and the shakiness of people who are diagnosed with functional gait disorder. So basically what you're doing is just you're retraining your system, your brain, maybe your nervous system or your brain. And they don't like, it used to be described as, think of it as a computer. Your hard drive is perfectly fine. It's your software that's messing up. But this neurologist said she doesn't like saying that anymore because it makes it sound like you're just messed up in the head. They say, yeah, it does a little bit. She said, it's not that. You do have an issue with your nervous system. So, but we have this aggressive treatment plan. And basically all it is it's Monday through Friday, but it's not till June 1st to June 5th. And it's every day in the morning. I'll do physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy. But they're going to be aggressive forms of therapy, not like what I was doing. She said it will be very aggressive. And you do it for 5 days. And then Friday, after I do Friday's treatment plan, then in the afternoon at 12:45, I will go back. I'll see the neurologist again and see where I'm at to see if that the issue has been resolved, mostly resolved, or it didn't work. So I just have to deal with this a few more months. So yeah, joy. Let's see, something I did on the 31st of March. Sorry, I'm reaching for my calendar, so you're getting an up-close personal view of my face. Okay, yes, that's right. I had to drive clear out to Elkhorn, Nebraska for a metabolic consultation. And to kind of talk about, what I should be eating. And also, she did a lot of blood tests. And I told her, well, I get basically every blood test done now every 3 months because of my liver cirrhosis. And she says, no, this is more of a blood test for like your nutritional level, like all your vitamins that you have in your body, to see what those levels are at for your nutrition. See if you're malnourished. Checks all a couple types of iron. It checks your potassium. Checks your insulin, and it also checks my my platelet count. And so it takes a few days for it to come back. Well, of course, I flew out on the 2nd, and this was done on the 31st, so just a couple of days I flew out. So yeah, when I was on vacation, I got the results and got a message from the neurologist. Unfortunately, good part about the blood test, almost everything looked normal. So basically, I'm not malnourished. One thing with the malnourished did come back was my potassium level was low, a little low. It was at 3.1. But she said that could have been due to the 12-hour fasting I had to do before I had the blood test done. So she just gave me 3 days worth of potassium pills I take twice a day, one in the morning, one in the evening. And oh my God, they are huge horse pills. I struggle trying to get them swallowed. Holy God. The one I did this evening was, oh my God, I thought I was going to choke on it because I could not get it down. It was just, instead of going down, it kind of like sat crossways in the opening for the esophagus. And it just stuck there. It's like, oh my God, I was starting to panic. So thankfully, though, it got to a point where it kind of like popped itself back out into my mouth. So I tried to reposition it again the long way. So when I drink some water, it will go down and not turn. And it did go down that time. Oh my God, that was scary. So, and then my platelet count dropped again. It's on a steady, slow decline. It is now at 110, as long as it stays over 100. But it's now, I went from 118 down to 115 down to 116, 115 down to 113, and now it's down to 110. So that's a sign that my liver, well, that's a sign that my portal vein hypertension is probably getting worse, because the spleen is, when the portal hypertension gets worse, that means more blood is not being able to go into the liver freely and causes more backup, which makes the spleen enlarge more, which holds more platelets out of your blood. Something to that effect. So that's a sign that my liver cirrhosis is possibly progressing. The other big sign is, my A1C has been really low for several years. My last A1C count in last December, I was all the way down to 4.5, which was really low. And she wanted to check my insulin because she says, yeah, it could be a false sense of my blood sugars being okay. So she wanted to check the insulin. And for someone who did a 12-hour fast, your insulin level, the level of amount of insulin in your blood should be roughly around 6, some say 8 to 10. Mine was 28.3. So I have what you call hyperinsulinemia. Yeah. So I'm gonna read what I researched, and this is what this means. See, it's described as, okay, I Googled this with all my medical issues. It says, under what does all this mean? Your situation involves a complex interplay between compensated liver cirrhosis, type 2 diabetes, and generalized myasthenia gravis, and now exacerbated by hyperinsulinemia. That's hyper, Hyper, insulin, INSULIN, and then EMIA, hyperinsulinemia, E silent, I think. I don't know how to pronounce it. Okay. So under this is number 1, high fasting insulin, which mine was at 28.3 with low A1C, 4.5 is what my last check was. A fasting insulin level over 25 is considered high. However, in your case, this indicates severe insulin resistance, where your pancreas is overproducing insulin to keep blood sugar low. The very low A1C of 4.5%, which is in the non-diabetic range, suggests that the Mounjaro 7.5 dose is what I am on, combined with your body's high insulin production, is keeping your blood sugar very low, or perhaps that the A1C is not accurately reflecting your glucose status due to my liver issues. So, and then number 2 talks about cirrhosis and the hyperinsulinemia. Patients with cirrhosis frequently have hyperinsulinemia because the damaged liver cannot clear insulin from the blood properly. This insulin resistance is a key driver of metabolic dysfunction, associated liver disease, and can accelerate cirrhosis progression. Yeah. Okay. Number 3. It's just that, and with my platelet counts keep dropping. It's going to be interesting to see what my next ultrasound looks like and new blood work, which I have tomorrow. My 6-month ultrasound and new blood work will be tomorrow. Even though now the recent blood work check my platelet count. This will probably check my A1C as well. So with that platelet count going down could be a sign of my liver cirrhosis progressing, and having this insulin resistance also means there's acceleration of my cirrhosis progression. Okay. I want to get the rest of this read to you because I got something else to read to you as well. I'm in 21 minutes. I told you it's going to be a long one. Okay. Number 3, opposite side effects. High insulin, no hypoglycemia. While hyperinsulinemia often causes low blood sugar hypoglycemia, in many cases of cirrhosis-driven insulin resistance, the excess insulin does not cause low blood sugar because the body is resisting it. However, if you are experiencing fatigue and shakiness, it may be a paradoxical reaction to the metabolic stress of the high insulin. Well, last year I was experiencing low blood sugar several times. It hasn't happened this year, and we're in month 4. So I thought maybe my body just got used to having low blood sugar. So, but I don't know. All right. Number 4, weight loss and fatigue. While Mounjaro causes weight loss, unexplained significant weight loss in cirrhosis can be a sign of advanced liver disease or sarcopenia, muscle loss, which can contribute to extreme fatigue. I've been dealing with extreme fatigue since, at least last July or August. Well, I've always been tired, fatigue for the last few years, but it got into the extreme levels. Maybe it was more September or October, but it was getting worse over the summer. So, and my fatigue is very often because of the combination of my liver cirrhosis and my myasthenia gravis. I have generalized myasthenia gravis, and also my high anxiety and stress. So all that can cause extreme fatigue. So, and I was just diagnosed with functional gait disorder, which should be the reason for my the tremors and shakiness. So I don't know. That's why this is all complicated, because of all the stuff I'm dealing with health-wise. All right, number 5. This is about neurological/functional issues, in parentheses, myasthenia gravis and gait disorder, which is what I have. I both have. Okay. It says, myasthenia gravis is an autoimmune disorder causing muscle weakness, which explains balance issues. I have balance issues. Even when I don't have tremors or shakiness in my legs, I can lose balance easily. I've been having balance issues for over a year now. So then it says the functional gait disorder, symptoms of tremors / shakiness, adds complexity as these symptoms can overlap with anxiety and stress and sometimes be worsened by metabolic dysfunction, which I have. That's why my diagnosis and my health is so complicated, because I'm dealing with so much that can have similar effects, similar issues. So, okay. The next section is, at what level does high insulin become dangerous? Because I asked that as part of the search on Google. It says there is no single dangerous number for insulin, as the danger depends on the clinical context. Number 1 bullet, optimal level. Many practitioners consider optimal fasting insulin to be under 8, and above 8 suggests insulin resistance. The danger zone, fasting levels consistently over 25 to 30. Mine was 28.3. As you have, signify significant metabolic impairment. Third bullet, in your context, okay, the danger is less about the number itself and more about the damage it causes. So we have sub-bullets. First sub-bullet says liver function. High insulin levels are linked to worsening liver cirrhosis and an increased risk of liver failure. Okay. Second sub-bullet, cardiovascular. Says hyperinsulinemia is associated with higher risk of major adverse cardiovascular events. Nickname MACE, M-A-C-E. Okay, final bullet under this section is called medication interaction. It says Mounjaro acts like GLP-1/GIP hormones, increasing insulin levels. The combination of your endogenous high insulin and Mounjaro must be closely monitored by your doctor for hypoglycemia risk, which can be fatal in cirrhotic patients. So I did let my primary care physician know about the insulin count and that my platelet count has continued to drop and that my potassium is low, but the doctor who did the metabolic consultation is not worried about the potassium. That's why she only gave me 3 days worth of those horse pills to take twice a day. So she did suggest, I asked, would it be a good idea to drop down to 5.0 instead of 7.5? And she says, we can do that. So she called in a new prescription for 5.0. But I got a lot of 7.5 left. So the Mounjaro I took yesterday when I was back, when I woke up, since I was back in town now, because I forgot to bring my insulin. I was rushing so fast that morning, I didn't even think to grab my Mounjaro out of the refrigerator. So I didn't have it to take that Saturday or the Saturday that I disembarked. So I had to take it Sunday. So I missed a week of it. So, but she says, usually Mounjaro will not make the insulin make have the system make more insulin if the blood sugar levels are not going high. So she says it should be safe. But she says, since I've been losing a lot of weight, it wouldn't hurt to go down to 5.0. But she cautioned me that now if the Mounjaro was the main reason for me losing all this weight and it's not due to all my medical issues, I could start to gain weight. And I said, I'm okay with that. But she does know that I'm going to still start. I will still take 7.5 for a little bit to run those shots out. Well, I have I had 3 full boxes at 7.5. That's somehow I got ahead over the period. I sometimes miss a week or just the number of weeks in a month. No, I just end up having 2 extra boxes. So, well, technically 3 extra. Well, 3 boxes, 2 extra, I would say, because I just got a new box a few weeks ago at the 7.5. So, but I was still finishing up the other box. So I had to open a brand new box of 7.5 yesterday to take the shot. So I might finish this box that I just opened. So it'll be 3 more weeks at 7.5. And then maybe I'll hold back those 7.5s as backup. Just in case if I do start gaining weight on the 5.0, maybe I'll move myself back up to 7.5. Naughty of me not tell the doctor that. Who cares? I'm going to die with it probably within the next few years anyway. So there's the depression setting in. But okay. Last section, key actions to discuss with doctors. First bullet, Mounjaro evaluation. It says, discuss if 7.5 is appropriate given the 4.5 A1C, high fasting insulin, and weight loss. So I did discuss that with my primary care provider, and we decided to go down to 5.0. But I'm not going to start it until at least a month because I got 3 more weeks to go, and I just took this one. So yeah, pretty much have 4 weeks until I would start the 5.0. So, all right, next bullet, liver monitoring. Monitor platelet count, currently 110,000. I always just say 110, which is low splenomegalia, which I knew because I've been low for quite a while. And it says also spleen size and varices. We already monitor that. My liver doctor, my gastroenterologist, we monitor that on every 6 months. Every three months blood work if needed, because sometimes we go in or one set of 3 months, my liver doctor does it, every other, and then every 3 months after that, my primary care provider does blood work. So because I'm on like an every 6 month thing with her, so it doesn't always line up. Sometimes, I have my 6 month follow up with both of them in the same month. So whoever I see the first gets to have the pleasure of running all the blood tests. And my visit with the other one is just a visit and we talk about things. So, all right, the last bullet for this last section, fatigue and neurology. Okay, it says, investigate if the fatigue is from MG, liver disease, or a combination of both. I think it's a combination of everything, including stress and my high anxiety and depression. And now add the functional gait disorder. That stresses my body out, stresses me out. So we're already doing that. Okay. And wrap up of this search, given the combination of varices and high insulin, management of the liver condition is paramount, as hyperinsulinemia acts as a driver for liver fibrosis. I'm already past fibrosis stage. I'm in cirrhosis. Oh my God. It's brain fog. Okay. All right. Now, I wanted to read you another search because when I was searching for this insulin thing, when you type something in, even if you type in the same way, Google will pull up slightly different results. And one research said that the high insulin, given my liver cirrhosis, and that I already have portal vein hypertension, enlarged spleen with low platelet count, small varices, even though my last endoscopy, they couldn't find it anymore. But I'm not sure about that because I was reading on one of my documents and it says small varices, so I don't know what to think. But it says that I could be developing another type of diabetes, one that is not a good sign. It's called hepatogenous. Hepatogenous. Hypatogenous. And in parentheses, it's just called HD. And that's what we're going to do, call HD. Okay. An overview paragraph says, HD is a form of secondary diabetes occurring in 21 through 57% of patients with liver cirrhosis caused by impaired liver function, high insulin resistance, and reduced insulin degradation. I remembered how it sounded like. It presents with postprandial, and then prandial, hyperglycemia. Okay, so some type of hyperglycemia. Then worsening cirrhosis prognosis. And it presents with the hyperglycemia thing, worsening cirrhosis prognosis. Increasing risk of hepatocellular carcinoma, so cancer in the liver, and requires cautious management due to the liver damage. So the insulin in the form of, so I not only have to worry that my liver is my cirrhosis is progressing, I also have to, I still worry about liver cancer. That's why we do, one of the things we do the ultrasound for, but ultrasound, it doesn't have a good track record of picking up the cancer in the liver at the early stages. No, because in early stages, they're so small in the scarring that it doesn't always pick up. And that's why last October we wanted to do the MRI. But if you've watched my older videos, you know, because I have the Inspire nerve implant in me with the battery implanted in my chest. No, it's implanted right here on my right side above the chest. You'll see my scar here, right above my boobie, man boobies. So this is the battery and runs a cord, power cord, and communication cord up to the nerve stimulator that's wrapped around the nerve of the tongue that's responsible for moving the tongue out. So, and they said, I don't want to get into this again, but long story short, I was kept being promised that no issue, you can get the MRI scan. This new type of Inspire device, nerve stimulator device, is made to withstand MRI scan, MRI machine. You just have to follow a few conditions, or a few restrictions is what they called it. But my radiologist said it's a few strict restrictions. One of the restrictions is there's so much heat that it can take. And unfortunately, with MRI, my type of MRI I need, it will reach that heat level within the first 10 minutes. And it's not like you can do an MRI for 10 minutes, get out of there, come back 60 to 90 minutes later, because that's when you can have another MRI. You have to wait that long, probably for things to cool off, and then get back and do another 10-minute MRI and hope that you get in the exact same position. Otherwise, it's not going to matter anyway. So, I'm sorry, I didn't get into this. Oh, this video is 40 minutes. Okay, let me finish this up quickly. Okay, the first section under this, HD, says key aspects of HD, hepatogenous diabetes. First bullet point, definition. Diabetes mellitus that develops as a direct consequence of chronic liver disease, specifically cirrhosis. Next bullet, pathophysiology. So pathophysiology says primarily driven by insulin resistance, often associated with sarcopenia or obesity. That sarcopenia, I actually remember, it's muscle waste. And people with liver cirrhosis, when they're losing weight, it could be you're losing muscle mass and not fat. So, and then it goes on to say, and decrease insulin degradation by the damaged liver. Next bullet point, diagnosis. Often missed by fasting blood glucose test. The oral glucose tolerance test, OGTT, is the most reliable diagnostic method. I've never taken a test like that. I might have to bring that up to my doctors. Risk. Increases the risk of complications such as hepatic encephalopathy, ENCEPHALOPATH, I think THY. So encephalopathy. Yeah, okay. Spontaneous, okay. No, I had a comma after that. So increase the risk of complications such as, well, I just said hepatic encephalopathy, blah, blah, blah. Then also spontaneous, bacterial, peritonitis, and mortality. Okay, at least I knew what peritonitis, I knew how to pronounce that because I've heard that word before many times. Don't know why, but I have. Trying not to go down. Trying to keep me happy. Okay, next bullet point. Treatment challenges. It says pharmacist treatment, something like that probably, is complex due to hepatotoxicity. Yeah, I think that's pronounced. And increased risk of hypoglycemia. While there are no standardized guidelines, management often includes metformin, DPP-4 inhibitors, or insulin. So I used to take metformin before I got on Mounjaro. Mounjaro. Brain fog. I guess I went from Mounjaro to omeprazole because the insurance stopped covering Mounjaro. Omeprazole didn't. work as well for me. So thank God you started to cover Mounjaro again. So that's why I'm back on it, and that's why I'm now 107 weeks, over 2 years on Mounjaro now. Okay. Next bullet point, prognosis. Often associated with the progression of liver disease with improved glycemic control, potentially impacting liver function positively. I got to read something positive out of this crap. Yay! Okay, last section. It's called differences from type 2 diabetes. And type 2 diabetes M. I can't remember what that M stands for. Oh, yeah, it's metabolic or meta something. Okay, there's 2 bullet points on here, so I'm almost done, folks. First bullet point, insulin level. Okay. Unlike type 2 diabetes metabolic, I'm just going to say metabolic, which often involves high insulin resistance, but sometimes low insulin production, HD patients often have high levels of insulin that the liver cannot properly process, combined with low peripheral uptake. Yeah, so that we read that also in the other Google search for the high insulin. So, okay. Last bullet, folks. Yay! Clinical presentation. Okay, it says patients with HD are less likely to have metabolic syndrome compared to type 2 diabetes M, metabolic, but more likely to have malnutrition or muscle loss. In parentheses, sarcopenia. See, I was right. That was muscle loss. All right, folks. That's what the 2 searches came up. Oh my God, I never had a video this long, 47.5 minutes. If you made it this long, God bless you. Oh, I don't know if I can make it that long. I did it without water. My mouth is really dry right now, but it didn't get so dry that I couldn't speak. So it's getting there. So I think my dry mouth at times is getting better. So, all right, that's my update, folks. Have a great rest of your work week, or if you work odd schedules, whenever your work week is. Enjoy your weekends. Enjoy life to the fullest, because you never know what life has to throw at you. Look at me. Oh my God. Please, God, don't give me anything else. I barely can handle this new thing. All right. If you would, like this video if you made it this far. And if you want, share it to anybody that you think might need to know this, if they're dealing with the same thing, or if it's just one of the things I'm dealing with. If you think that they can get some information out of this, please go ahead and share it with them. So, all right, take care, folks. I love you all. God bless everyone.